Shut up. The maid's voice cracked through the room like thunder. Are you mad? She snarled. Do you know what you've just done? The billionaire staggered backward, then dropped to his knees. His expensive suit soaked into the cold floor as the shadows around the room twisted unnaturally. Please, spare my life, he sobbed. Don't kill me. I won't try it again. Please. The maid stepped closer. The air grew heavy. The walls trembled. She leaned down until her face was inches from his. On one condition. He nodded violently. What you saw tonight, she whispered, will be unseen forever. You will not tell anyone. Not your staff. Not your friends. Not even your wife. Yes, yes, he cried. I swear, I swear. The maid smiled. Then she laughed, a slow, demonic laugh that did not sound human. Disappear from here, stupid man. The lights snapped back on. The billionaire scrambled to his feet and fled the room, his breath ragged, his mind broken. And as his footsteps faded down the hallway, the maid's smile vanished. 30 minutes earlier, Chief Emeka Okonkwo couldn't sleep. Something was wrong in his mansion. For weeks now, everyone had been acting strange. His wife, Adaeze, obeyed the maid more than she obeyed him. His children listened to her like she was their mother. Even his driver and security guards treated her with unusual respect. The maid's name was Ngozi. She had been working in the house for 2 years, but recently, Chief Emeka noticed she had too much power, too much control. Everyone moved when she spoke. Everyone feared her. But why? She was just a maid, a servant. She should have no power at all. Tonight, Chief Emeka decided to find out the truth. Around midnight, he heard whispers coming from the back of the house. Strange whispers. They weren't in any language he recognized. He got out of bed quietly, careful not to wake Adaeze, and followed the sound down the hallway. The whispers led him to the servants' quarters. To Ngozi's room. Chief Emeka's heart pounded as he approached her door. He shouldn't be here. He should turn back. But anger pushed him forward. This was his house, his mansion. He had every right to know what was happening under his own roof. He pushed the door open. What he saw froze the blood in his veins. The room was dark except for dozens of candles arranged in a circle on the floor. Ngozi sat in the center, her eyes closed, her lips moving rapidly as she chanted in a strange, ancient language. But that wasn't the worst part. The shadows in the room were alive. They moved like snakes, crawling up the walls, twisting across the ceiling. The air was thick and cold, pressing against Chief Emeka's chest until he could barely breathe. And floating around Ngozi were glowing symbols, dark symbols that pulsed with evil energy. Chief Emeka's legs trembled. He wanted to run, but fear had locked his body in place. Then Ngozi's eyes snapped open. They glowed red. Chief Emeka, she said softly, but her voice wasn't normal. It echoed as if 1,000 voices were speaking at once. You should not have come here. Chief Emeka stumbled backward. What? What are you doing? Ngozi stood slowly. The shadows rose with her, swirling around her body like dark smoke. You thought you could spy on me? She asked. Her voice was calm but deadly. You thought you could control me? I just wanted to know. Shut up. Her voice exploded through the room like a bomb. Chief Emeka fell to his knees, trembling. Are you mad? She snarled, stepping closer. Do you know what you've just done? The shadows in the room grew darker, thicker. They wrapped around Chief Emeka's arms and legs like chains, holding him down. Please, he gasped. Please, spare my life. Don't kill me. I won't try it again. Please. Ngozi leaned down until her face was inches from his. Her red eyes burned into his soul. On one condition, she whispered. He nodded desperately, tears streaming down his face. What you saw tonight will be unseen forever, she said slowly. You will not tell anyone. Not your staff, not your friends, not even your wife. Yes, yes, Chief Emeka sobbed. I swear on everything. Ngozi smiled. Then she laughed. It was a slow, deep, demonic laugh that echoed through the room. It didn't sound human. It sounded like something ancient, something evil. Disappear from here, stupid man. Suddenly, the lights snapped back on. The candles were gone. The symbols vanished. The shadows returned to normal. But the terror remained. Chief Emeka scrambled to his feet and ran. He didn't look back. He fled down the hallway, his breath ragged, his heart pounding so hard he thought it would burst. He reached his bedroom and slammed the door behind him. Daisy stirred in bed. "Emeka, what's wrong?" "Nothing," he gasped, climbing back into bed. His hands were shaking. "Nothing. Go back to sleep." But sleep would not come. Chief Emeka lay in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, his mind shattered by what he had seen. Ngozi wasn't just a maid. She was something else. Something dangerous, something demonic. And now she owned him. The next morning, Chief Emeka woke up exhausted. He hadn't slept at all. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those glowing red eyes. He heard that demonic laugh. He got out of bed and went to the bathroom to wash his face. When he looked in the mirror, he barely recognized himself. His eyes were red and swollen. His face was pale. He looked like a man who had seen death. And maybe he had. He went downstairs for breakfast. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Adaze was already at the table, sipping tea. The children were eating cereal. Everything looked normal. But when Chief Emeka sat down, Ngozi appeared from the kitchen, carrying a tray of food. She set it down in front of him without a word. Their eyes met for a brief second. Ngozi smiled. A small, knowing smile. Chief Emeka's blood ran cold. "Thank you," he whispered. "You're welcome, sir," Ngozi said sweetly. Then she turned and walked back to the kitchen. Adaze looked at him. "Are you okay? You look terrible." "I'm fine," Chief Emeka lied. But he wasn't fine. He was trapped. Over the next few days, Chief Emeka tried to act normal. He went to work. He attended meetings. He made business deals. But his mind was never fully there. At home, things got worse. Ngozi's control over the household became even stronger. She no longer asked Adaze for permission to do things. She simply did them. She told the other servants what to do, and they obeyed without question. Even Adaze started asking Ngozi for advice on everything. "Ngozi, what should I wear today?" "Ngozi, should I attend the charity event on Saturday?" "Ngozi, what do you think about this business deal Emeka is working on?" It was as if Ngozi had become the real mistress of the house, and Chief Emeka could say nothing. He had made a promise. A terrible promise. He could not tell anyone what he had seen. One evening, Chief Emeka decided to test her again. He needed to know how far her power reached. He called Ngozi into his study. "Close the door," he said. She did. "Sit down." She sat calmly, her hands folded in her lap, her face neutral. Chief Emeka leaned forward. "I know what you are." Ngozi raised an eyebrow. "Do you?" "Yes. I saw what you did in your room. I saw the shadows, the candles, the evil." Ngozi didn't react. She just stared at him. "I want you to leave this house," Chief Emeka said, trying to sound strong. "Pack your things and go. Tonight." Ngozi tilted her head. "And if I refuse?" "I'll call the police. I'll tell them everything." Ngozi smiled. "You won't." "I will." "No," Ngozi said softly. "You won't. Because if you do, I will tell your wife what you've been hiding." Chief Emeka's heart stopped. "What are you talking about?" "The woman in Abuja," Ngozi said. "The one you visit every month. The one you've been giving money to. The one who just had your baby." Chief Emeka's face went white. "How did she know?" "I know everything, Chief Emeka," Ngozi said. "I know about your secret accounts. I know about the bribes you've taken. I know about the people you've cheated. I know things you've forgotten yourself." She stood up and walked to the door. "You will not tell anyone about me," she said. "And I will not tell anyone about you. That was our agreement. And you will keep it." She opened the door and paused. "Oh, and one more thing," she said, looking back at him. "From now on, you will do exactly as I say. When I tell you to sit, you sit. When I tell you to speak, you speak. When I tell you to be silent, you stay silent." Chief Emeka's hands clenched into fists. "You can't." "I can," Ngozi interrupted. "And I will. Because this house is mine now. You just live in it." She walked out and closed the door behind her. Chief Emeka sat frozen in his chair, his mind racing. He was the richest man in Lagos. He owned businesses worth billions. He had power, influence, connections. But in his own home, he had become a slave. And the maid who controlled him had just begun to reveal her true, shocking, dangerous power. Chief Emeka stopped going to his study. That room had become a place of shame. Every time he sat in that leather chair, he remembered Ngozi's words. "This house is mine now. You just live in it." It had been 2 weeks since that conversation, and everything had changed. Ngozi no longer pretended to be a servant. She moved through the mansion like she owned it. She gave orders to the other staff members, and they obeyed instantly. She made decisions about meals, about schedules, about who could enter the house and who couldn't. And Chief Emeka said nothing. He couldn't. Every time he thought about confronting her, he remembered the glowing red eyes, the shadows that moved like living things, the demonic laugh that still echoed in his nightmares. But worse than the fear was the humiliation. He was a billionaire, a powerful man. People bowed to him in boardrooms. Government officials answered his phone calls. He had built an empire from nothing, and now, in his own home, he was powerless. One morning, Chief Emeka came down for breakfast and found Ngozi sitting at the head of the dining table. His seat. Adeyes sat beside her, laughing at something Ngozi had said. The children were there too, eating happily, talking to Ngozi like she was part of the family. No one noticed Chief Emeka standing in the doorway. He cleared his throat. Everyone looked up. "Good morning, dear," Adeyes said with a smile. "Come, sit down." Ngozi made the most amazing pancakes. Chief Emeka looked at Ngozi. She stared back at him with those dark, knowing eyes. "There's a seat here, sir," Ngozi said, pointing to a chair at the far end of the table, the chair where guests usually sat. Chief Emeka's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. He walked to the chair and sat down. Ngozi smiled. "Would you like some pancakes, sir?" "No," Chief Emeka muttered. "He's been so stressed lately," Adeyes said to Ngozi. "I'm worried about him." "Maybe he needs rest," Ngozi said sweetly. "Too much work can break a man." Chief Emeka clenched his fists under the table. He wanted to scream. He wanted to grab Ngozi and throw her out of his house. But he couldn't. Because she knew things. Terrible things. And if he made one wrong move, his entire life would collapse. After breakfast, Chief Emeka went to his bedroom and called his lawyer. "Kunle, I need your help," he said quietly. "Of course, Chief. What's the problem?" "I need to fire one of my domestic staff. Immediately. But I want to make sure it's done properly. Legally." "Which staff member?" "The maid, Ngozi." There was a pause on the other end. "Ngozi? But Chief, your wife told me just last week that Ngozi is the best employee you've ever had. She said you were planning to give her a raise." Chief Emeka's blood ran cold. "What? I never said that." "Well, your wife did. She even asked me to draft a new contract for Ngozi. Better terms, higher salary. I was going to send it to you for approval." Chief Emeka hung up without another word. Adeyes had gone behind his back. Or worse, Ngozi had convinced her to do it. He sat on the edge of the bed, his head in his hands. How had this happened? How had one woman taken control of his entire household? That evening, Chief Emeka tried a different approach. He called a meeting with all the staff in the living room. The driver, the cook, the security guards, the gardener, and the other housemaids. Everyone except Ngozi. "I want to know the truth," Chief Emeka said, standing in front of them. "What has Ngozi been doing in this house?" The staff members looked at each other nervously. No one spoke. "I'm your employer," Chief Emeka said, his voice rising. "I pay your salaries. I demand answers. What is she doing to all of you?" The cook, an older woman named Mama Chidi, finally spoke. "Sir, we don't know what you mean." "Don't lie to me," Chief Emeka snapped. "I see the way you all treat her. Like she's your boss." "Why?" Mama Chidi looked down. She helps us, sir." "Helps you how?" She knows things," Mama Chidi whispered. "She helped my daughter get into university. She told the driver how to fix his marriage. She knew the gardener's mother was sick before anyone told her. She just knows." "That's not help," Chief Emeka said. "That's witchcraft." The room went silent. "Has anyone seen her do anything strange?" Chief Emeka pressed. "Anything that doesn't make sense?" The security guard, a young man named Tunde, shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, I saw something once." "What?" "Late at night, I was doing my rounds. I saw her in the garden. She was talking to something, but no one was there." "What was she saying?" I don't know, sir. It wasn't English. It wasn't Igbo or Yoruba either. It sounded old. Chief Emeka's heart raced. And you didn't think to tell me? Tunde looked terrified. Sir, I was afraid. The next morning, she looked at me and said, You should sleep better at night, Tunde. Wandering around in the dark can be dangerous. She knew I had seen her, and I didn't want trouble. Chief Emeka turned to the others. Anyone else? They all remained silent. Fine, Chief Emeka said, but I want all of you to stay away from her. Do your jobs. Don't talk to her unless you have to. Understood? They nodded, but Chief Emeka could see it in their eyes. They wouldn't obey. They couldn't. Ngozi's grip on them was too strong. That night, Chief Emeka lay awake in bed again. Adaze was asleep beside him, breathing softly. He stared at the ceiling, his mind racing with plans. He thought about calling the police. But what would he tell them? That his maid was a witch? They would laugh at him. He thought about running away, leaving the mansion and never coming back. But that was his home, his empire. He had worked too hard to abandon it. He thought about fighting back, confronting Ngozi again, forcing her to leave. But every time he imagined doing it, he saw those red eyes. He heard that demonic laugh. And he knew he couldn't win. Around 2 in the morning, Chief Emeka heard footsteps in the hallway. Soft footsteps, slow and deliberate. They stopped outside his bedroom door. Chief Emeka's heart pounded. He held his breath, listening. The doorknob turned slowly. The door creaked open. A figure stepped into the room. In the darkness, Chief Emeka could barely see, but he knew who it was. Ngozi. She stood in the doorway, perfectly still, watching him. Chief Emeka didn't move. He didn't breathe. He pretended to be asleep. Ngozi took one step forward, then another. She moved closer to the bed, her footsteps silent. She stopped right beside him. Chief Emeka could feel her presence. Cold, heavy, oppressive. Then she leaned down, her mouth close to his ear. I know you're awake, she whispered. Chief Emeka's body went rigid. You tried to turn my staff against me today, Ngozi continued softly. That was foolish. I didn't. Chief Emeka stammered. Shh, Ngozi whispered. Don't wake your wife. She needs her rest. Chief Emeka's throat went dry. You think you can fight me, Ngozi said. You think if you find the right strategy, the right plan, you can get rid of me. But you can't. Because I'm not just in this house, Chief Emeka. I'm in your mind. I'm in your fear. I'm in every shadow you see and every whisper you hear. She stood up straight. From now on, you will stop trying to resist me. You will accept your place, and you will be grateful that I allow you to live in this house at all. She walked to the door, then paused. Oh, and Chief Emeka. Yes, he whispered. Tomorrow, you will give me full access to your bank accounts. All of them. I'll need the passwords by noon. What? No, I can't. Ngozi turned back to him. Her eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. Red. Burning. You will, she said. Or everyone will know about the woman in Abuja. About the bribes. About the money you stole from your business partners. About everything. Chief Emeka's world collapsed. Good night, Chief, Ngozi said sweetly. She walked out and closed the door behind her. Chief Emeka lay in the darkness, tears streaming down his face. He had lost. Completely. The maid had won. And tomorrow she would own everything. Chief Emeka didn't go to work the next day. He couldn't. He sat in his bedroom, staring at his laptop screen. The cursor blinked in the password field of his offshore bank account. His hands hovered over the keyboard, trembling. 20 years of work, billions of naira, all of it sitting in accounts across 3 continents. And now he was about to give it all to a maid. A knock on the door made him jump. Come in, he said weakly. Ngozi entered, carrying a tray with tea and biscuits. She set it down on the bedside table and smiled. Good morning, sir. You didn't come down for breakfast. I thought you might be hungry. Chief Emeka didn't look at her. I'm not hungry. You should eat something, Ngozi said. You look terrible. I wonder why, Chief Emeka muttered. Ngozi walked around the bed and looked at the laptop screen. Ah, you're working on what I asked for. Good. This is everything I have, Chief Emeka said, his voice breaking. Everything I've built. You can't just take it. I'm not taking it, Ngozi said calmly. I'm managing it. You've proven you can't be trusted with money. You waste it on mistresses and bribes. I'll put it to better use. Better use? Chief Emeka's anger finally broke through his fear. You're a thief, a witch, a demon. Ngozi's smile vanished. The temperature in the room dropped instantly. The windows rattled, the lights flickered. What did you call me? Ngozi asked softly. Chief Emeka's anger disappeared as quickly as it had come. Fear replaced it. I didn't mean. Say it again, Ngozi said, stepping closer. Call me a demon again, see what happens. Chief Emeka's mouth went dry. He couldn't speak. Ngozi leaned down until her face was inches from his. You forget your place, Chief Emeka. You forget that I could end you with a word. I could make you disappear. I could drive you insane. I could take everything from you, your money, your family, your mind, and leave you as a broken shell begging on the streets. Tears rolled down Chief Emeka's face. Please. But I won't, Ngozi said, straightening up. Because you're more useful to me alive. Now finish what you started. I want those passwords in 1 hour. She walked to the door, then paused. And Chief Emeka, your wife is downstairs planning a surprise party for me, my 2-year anniversary of working here. She wants to celebrate how wonderful I've been to this family. You'll attend, you'll smile, you'll give a speech about how grateful you are to have me. Understood? Chief Emeka nodded numbly. Ngozi left. Chief Emeka sat alone in the room, broken and defeated. His hands moved across the keyboard automatically, typing passwords, transferring access, giving away everything he had worked for. When he finished, he closed the laptop and lay down on the bed. He had nothing left. The party happened that evening. The living room was decorated with balloons and streamers. Adeyeze had hired caterers. She'd invited friends and family. Even some of Chief Emeka's business associates had come. Everyone was celebrating Ngozi. She's been such a blessing to our family, Adeyeze announced to the guests. I don't know what we would do without her. The guests clapped. Chief Emeka stood in the corner, holding a glass of champagne he hadn't touched. He watched as people congratulated Ngozi, thanked her, praised her. His own children hugged her and called her Auntie Ngozi. His wife kissed her on the cheek and gave her an expensive gold necklace as a gift. His business partner, Alhaji Musa, shook Ngozi's hand. Chief Emeka is a lucky man to have you managing his household. My own home is chaos. Maybe you can recommend someone like you. There's no one like me, Ngozi said with a smile. Everyone laughed. Chief Emeka felt sick. Chief Emeka, Adeyeze called out. Come, give your speech. All eyes turned to him. Chief Emeka walked slowly to the center of the room. He looked at Ngozi. She stared back at him with those dark, knowing eyes. Say something nice, she mouthed silently. Chief Emeka cleared his throat. I want to thank Ngozi for everything she's done for this family. The guests clapped. She has been invaluable, Chief Emeka continued, forcing the words out. We are blessed to have her. More applause. Ngozi smiled and raised her glass. Thank you, sir. It's an honor to serve such a wonderful family. The party continued. Music played, people danced, laughter filled the house. But Chief Emeka couldn't take it anymore. He slipped away quietly and went upstairs to his bedroom. He locked the door behind him and sat on the edge of the bed. He needed help. Real help. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number he hadn't called in years. Hello? A voice answered. Pastor Jeremiah, Chief Emeka said. It's Emeka Okonkwo. I need to see you. Urgently. The next morning, Chief Emeka drove to Pastor Jeremiah's church in Ikeja. It was a small building, nothing like the mega churches in Lekki. But Pastor Jeremiah was known for one thing, spiritual warfare. People came to him when they had problems that regular churches couldn't solve. Curses, possessions, witchcraft. Chief Emeka parked his car and went inside. Pastor Jeremiah was a tall, thin man with grey hair and intense eyes. He greeted Chief Emeka with a firm handshake. Chief Emeka, it's been a long time. Too long, Chief Emeka said. Pastor, I need your help. Something evil is in my house. Pastor Jeremiah's expression grew serious. Tell me everything. Chief Emeka told him about Ngozi, about the night he saw her performing the dark ritual, about the shadows and the glowing symbols, about how she had taken control of his family, his staff, his money, his entire life. Pastor Jeremiah listened without interrupting. When Chief Emeka finished, the pastor sat back in his chair and sighed. "This is serious, very serious. Can you help me?" Chief Emeka asked desperately. "I can try," Pastor Jeremiah said. "But this kind of spirit, it's powerful, it won't leave easily." "I don't care what it takes," Chief Emeka said. "I want her out of my house." Pastor Jeremiah nodded. "I'll come tomorrow night, but you must prepare. Don't tell anyone I'm coming, especially not her. If she knows, she'll stop us before we begin." "I won't say a word," Chief Emeka promised. "And Chief Emeka," Pastor Jeremiah added, "you must be ready. When we confront her, things will get dangerous. Spirits like this don't give up without a fight. People can get hurt. Are you prepared for that?" Chief Emeka thought about his wife, his children, the staff, but he thought about himself too, about the humiliation, the fear, the prison he was living in. "Yes," he said, "I'm ready." That night, Chief Emeka returned home, feeling something he hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. Tomorrow, Pastor Jeremiah would come. Tomorrow, this nightmare would end. He walked into the house and found Ngozi in the hallway, arranging flowers in a vase. She looked up and smiled. "Chief Emeka, you're back. Where did you go this morning?" "Just handling some business," Chief Emeka said, trying to sound casual. Ngozi studied him for a moment. "You seem different, happier." "Do I?" "Yes." Ngozi set down the flowers and stepped closer. "What happened today, Chief Emeka?" "Nothing," he said. "I just had a good meeting." Ngozi tilted her head. "You're lying." Chief Emeka's heart raced. "I'm not." Ngozi's eyes narrowed. She stared at him, her gaze piercing through him like she was reading his thoughts. Then she smiled. "You went to see a pastor, didn't you?" Chief Emeka's blood turned to ice. "You think a pastor can save you?" Ngozi said, laughing softly. "You think prayers and holy water will drive me away?" "I don't know what you're talking about," Chief Emeka stammered. Ngozi stepped even closer. "Let me tell you something, Chief Emeka. I've faced pastors before, prophets, priests, men who thought they had power from God. Do you know what happened to them?" Chief Emeka couldn't speak. "They all failed," Ngozi whispered, "and some of them didn't survive." She turned and walked away, leaving Chief Emeka standing frozen in the hallway. As she disappeared around the corner, she called back, "Bring your pastor tomorrow. Let's see if his God is stronger than what I serve." Chief Emeka's hope shattered. She knew. She had always known. And tomorrow, when Pastor Jeremiah arrived, he would be walking into a trap. Chief Emeka didn't sleep at all that night. He sat on the edge of his bed, watching the clock. Every minute felt like an hour. Every shadow in the room seemed to move with a life of its own. Ngozi knew about Pastor Jeremiah. How? Had she followed him, read his mind? Was she watching him even now? Chief Emeka looked around the dark bedroom. The corners seemed deeper than usual. The silence felt heavy, like something was waiting. He wanted to call Pastor Jeremiah and cancel, warn him, tell him not to come. But he couldn't. This was his last chance, his only chance. If the pastor didn't free him from Ngozi's control, no one would. The next evening, Pastor Jeremiah arrived at exactly 7 o'clock. He came in a small Toyota, dressed in a simple black shirt and trousers. He carried a worn leather bag. Chief Emeka met him at the gate personally. "Pastor, maybe this isn't a good idea. She knows you're coming." Pastor Jeremiah's face remained calm. "I expected that. Evil spirits always know when they're being challenged. But we're not here in our own power, Chief. We're here in God's power. But what if—" "Where is she?" Pastor Jeremiah interrupted. "In the house, somewhere." "Then let's not waste time." They walked into the mansion together. The house was strangely quiet. No staff members were around. Even Adaze and the children seemed to have disappeared. "Where is everyone?" Pastor Jeremiah asked. "I don't know," Chief Emeka said nervously. "The house is never this empty." They walked through the living room, down the hallway, past the dining room. Everything was still, too still. Then they heard humming. A soft, melodic humming coming from the kitchen. Pastor Jeremiah and Chief Emeka exchanged glances, then walked toward the sound. Ngozi was in the kitchen, cutting vegetables. She hummed a cheerful tune as she worked, as if nothing unusual was happening. "Good evening, Pastor," she said without looking up. Chief Emeka told me you were coming. I'm preparing dinner. Would you like to stay? Pastor Jeremiah stepped forward. I didn't come here to eat. I came here to deliver this household from your evil influence. Ngozi stopped cutting. She set down the knife and turned to face them, wiping her hands on a towel. Evil influence? She repeated, smiling. Pastor, I'm just a maid. I cook, I clean, I take care of this family. What's evil about that? You know exactly what I'm talking about, Pastor Jeremiah said firmly. You've used dark powers to control this household. You've manipulated this family. You've enslaved Chief Emeka in his own home. Ngozi laughed. Enslaved? Pastor, look at him. Does he look like a slave? He's a billionaire. He lives in a mansion. He has everything he could ever want. Except his freedom, Pastor Jeremiah said. Ngozi's smile faded. Freedom is overrated. Most people don't know what to do with it anyway. I'm not here to debate with you, Pastor Jeremiah said, opening his leather bag. He pulled out a Bible, a bottle of anointing oil, and a wooden cross. I'm here to cast you out. In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave this house and never return. Ngozi watched him calmly. Are you finished? Pastor Jeremiah began to pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight asking for your divine intervention. This house has been infected by evil. This woman has brought darkness into... Stop. The single word from Ngozi's mouth cut through the air like a knife. Pastor Jeremiah's voice caught in his throat. He tried to continue praying, but no words came out. Chief Emeka watched in horror as the pastor's mouth moved but produced no sound. Ngozi stepped closer. You think your prayers scare me, Pastor. You think your Bible and your oil have power over me. Pastor Jeremiah held up the wooden cross, his hand shaking. Ngozi laughed. That's just wood, Pastor. Dead wood from a dead tree. It has no power. She reached out and touched the cross. Nothing happened. Pastor Jeremiah's eyes widened in shock. Let me show you what real power looks like, Ngozi said. She snapped her fingers. Instantly, the lights in the kitchen went out. The temperature dropped so quickly that Chief Emeka could see his own breath. In the darkness, shadows began to move. They crawled along the walls, across the ceiling, wrapping around Pastor Jeremiah like ropes. The pastor struggled, finally finding his voice. In the name of Jesus, I rebuke. His name has no authority here, Ngozi interrupted. Her voice had changed. It was deeper now, layered, as if multiple voices were speaking at once. This house belongs to me. Everyone in it belongs to me. And you, Pastor, made a mistake coming here. The shadows tightened around Pastor Jeremiah. He gasped, dropping his Bible and cross. Stop, Chief Emeka shouted. Let him go. Ngozi turned to him. Her eyes glowed red in the darkness. Why should I? He came here to attack me, to drive me out. Should I just let that go unpunished? Please, Chief Emeka begged. He was just trying to help me. Help you? Ngozi's laughter echoed through the kitchen. Chief Emeka, when will you learn? No one can help you. No pastor, no priest, no prophet. You are mine, forever. Pastor Jeremiah's face was turning purple. He couldn't breathe. Chief Emeka fell to his knees. Please, I'll do anything. Just don't kill him. Ngozi considered this for a moment. Then she snapped her fingers again. The shadows released Pastor Jeremiah. He collapsed to the floor, gasping and coughing. The lights came back on. The temperature returned to normal. Ngozi looked down at the pastor with contempt. Leave this house. Now, and if you ever come back, I won't be so merciful. Pastor Jeremiah struggled to his feet. He looked at Chief Emeka, his eyes filled with pity and fear. I'm sorry, he whispered. I can't help you. This is beyond me. No, Chief Emeka said desperately, please don't leave me here. But Pastor Jeremiah was already gathering his things with shaking hands. He grabbed his Bible and his bag and ran toward the front door. Chief Emeka heard the door slam. Then the sound of the pastor's car speeding away. He was alone with Ngozi again. She picked up the knife and returned to cutting vegetables. Where were we? Oh yes, dinner. I'm making your favorite tonight. Jollof rice with chicken. Chief Emeka remained on his knees, broken. Stand up, Chief Emeka, Ngozi said without looking at him. You look pathetic down there. He stood slowly, his legs weak. That was your last attempt to fight me, wasn't it? Ngozi asked. Chief Emeka said nothing. Answer me. Yes, he whispered. Good. Ngozi continued chopping. Now you understand. There's no escape. There's no rescue. There's only acceptance. The sooner you accept your place, the easier your life will be. Chief Emeka turned to leave. Oh, and Chief Emeka. He stopped. Tomorrow morning, I need you to fire 3 of your senior managers at the company. The ones I told you about last week. They're not loyal enough. They've worked for me for 10 years, Chief Emeka said weakly. I don't care. Fire them, or I'll make your life even more miserable than it already is. Chief Emeka nodded and walked out of the kitchen. As he climbed the stairs to his bedroom, he heard Ngozi humming again. That same cheerful tune. She had won. Completely and utterly. She had defeated a pastor, a man of God. If Pastor Jeremiah couldn't stop her, then truly no one could. Chief Emeka reached his bedroom and locked the door. He walked to the window and looked out at the city lights of Lagos spread below him. He was trapped in a prison of his own making, a mansion that had become his tomb, and the warden was a maid with shocking, dangerous power that no prayer could break. Downstairs, Ngozi finished preparing dinner. She set the table for the family. Adaeze and the children had been in their rooms the whole time, under her influence, sleeping peacefully, unaware of what had just happened. Ngozi smiled to herself. Pastors. They were always so confident, so sure of their power, but they never understood. The force she served was older than their religion, darker than their prayers, stronger than their faith. And Chief Emeka was learning that lesson the hard way. But her control over the mansion was about to face a challenge she didn't expect. Because someone was watching. Someone had witnessed what happened to Pastor Jeremiah. And that person was about to make a phone call that would change everything. 3 days after Pastor Jeremiah's failed deliverance, a black SUV pulled up to the mansion gates. Chief Emeka was in his study when he heard the commotion outside. Shouting, car doors slamming, heavy footsteps. He looked out the window and his heart stopped. Police, at least a dozen officers, and behind them, several people in dark suits carrying briefcases and cameras. What's happening? Adaeze rushed into the study, her face pale with confusion. Before Chief Emeka could answer, the front door burst open downstairs. Nobody move. This is the Nigerian police force. Chief Emeka and Adaeze ran to the top of the staircase. Below, police officers flooded into the mansion. The staff members were being gathered in the living room, their faces filled with shock and fear. Where is Ngozi Obiora? A tall female officer demanded. Mama Chidi, the cook, pointed toward the kitchen with a trembling hand. 4 officers rushed in that direction. Chief Emeka's mind raced. What was happening? Who had called the police? Then he saw her. A young woman in a dark suit entered the mansion, holding a folder thick with documents. She looked up at Chief Emeka and Adaeze on the staircase. Chief Emeka Okonkwo? She called out. Yes, he answered weakly. I'm Investigator Emeka Okafor from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. We need to speak with you immediately. Before Chief Emeka could respond, a scream erupted from the kitchen. Not a human scream. It was the sound of something ancient and furious being cornered. The lights in the mansion flickered. The walls trembled. A cold wind swept through the house, even though all the windows were closed. She's trying to escape, an officer shouted. Chief Emeka ran down the stairs. Adaeze followed, clutching his arm. They reached the kitchen doorway, just in time to see Ngozi backed into a corner by 4 police officers. Her eyes were wild. Her face was twisted with rage. But she wasn't glowing red. The shadows weren't moving. The air wasn't heavy. She looked powerless. How? Chief Emeka whispered. How is this possible? Investigator Emeka appeared beside him. Your driver Tunde contacted us 2 weeks ago. He'd been documenting everything, the strange rituals, the way she controlled your household, the financial irregularities. Tunde? Chief Emeka turned and saw his driver standing near the entrance, avoiding his eyes. He was terrified, Investigator Emeka continued. But he was also brave. He gathered evidence. Bank statements showing unauthorized transfers from your accounts, video footage from the security cameras, testimonies from the other staff members who were too afraid to speak. But her powers, Chief Emeka said, she's not human. She's human, Investigator Emeka said firmly. She's a con artist, a very skilled one. She used psychological manipulation, drugs in the food to make people suggestible, and good old-fashioned intimidation. The powers you saw, tricks, illusions, theater. No, Chief Emeka shook his head. I saw things, real things, the shadows, the red eyes, hallucinogens, Investigator Emeka interrupted. We found them in her room. She'd been mixing small doses into your food for months, just enough to make you see things, to make you afraid, to make you believe she had supernatural powers. Chief Emeka stared at Ngozi as the officers handcuffed her. She looked back at him, and for the first time since he'd known her, he saw something in her eyes he'd never seen before. Fear. You believed everything. Ngozi spat at him. You're supposed to be a brilliant businessman, but you were so easy to fool. One fake ritual and you fell apart. Why? Chief Emeka asked. Why did you do this? Ngozi laughed bitterly. Why? Because people like you deserve it. You have everything. Money, power, respect. And you waste it. You cheat on your wife. You steal from your partners. You treat your staff like dirt. I wanted to show you what it feels like to be powerless, to be controlled, to be humiliated. You destroyed my life, Chief Emeka said. No, Ngozi said coldly. I just revealed who you really are. A coward, a weak man who crumbles the moment someone challenges him. The officers pulled her toward the door. Wait. Adese's voice rang out. Everyone turned. She stood in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. I trusted you, Adese said to Ngozi. I thought you were my friend. You made me turn against my own husband. Ngozi's expression softened slightly. You were already turning against him, Adese. I just helped you see what he really was. A liar, a cheater. I gave you the truth. You gave me poison, Adese said. You destroyed my family. Your family was already broken, Ngozi said. I just exposed it. The officers dragged her out of the house. As she passed Chief Emeka, she leaned close and whispered, Even now, you'll never forget me. Every shadow you see, every whisper you hear, you'll always wonder if I'm still there. That's the real curse I've left you with. Then, she was gone. The investigation took 3 months. The police found everything, the hallucinogens, the forged documents, the money Ngozi had stolen, over 50 million naira, transferred to offshore accounts under false names. They also discovered Ngozi's real identity. Her name wasn't Ngozi Obiora, it was Grace Nwosu. She was a former psychology student who had been expelled from university for running manipulation experiments on other students. She had a history of targeting wealthy families, gaining their trust, then systematically destroying them from the inside. The Okonkwo family was her 5th victim. Ngozi Grace was sentenced to 15 years in prison for fraud, theft, and psychological abuse. But the damage she left behind was permanent. Chief Emeka and Adese tried to rebuild their marriage, but the trust was gone. The secrets Ngozi had revealed, the mistress in Abuja, the stolen money, the lies couldn't be forgotten. They divorced 6 months after Ngozi's arrest. Chief Emeka kept the mansion, but he could never feel comfortable there again. Every room reminded him of his humiliation. Every corner held a memory of his weakness. He sold the house and moved to a smaller property in Ikoyi. His business survived, but his reputation didn't. Word spread about how a simple maid had controlled him completely, how he'd been too weak to stop her, how he'd needed the police to save him. People whispered, laughed, pitied him. Chief Emeka Okonkwo, the powerful billionaire, had been humiliated by a maid with shocking, dangerous power that had never been real at all. 2 years later, Chief Emeka sat alone in his new house, staring out the window at the Lagos skyline. He thought about Ngozi often, about her final words to him. She was right. Even though he knew the truth that it had all been tricks and drugs and manipulation, he still felt her presence sometimes, still heard her voice in quiet moments, still saw shadows move in ways that made his heart race. The prison she'd built around him was gone, but the one inside his mind remained. And perhaps that was the most terrifying power of all, not the power to control someone's body or their money, but the power to break their mind so completely that they could never fully heal. Chief Emeka picked up his phone and looked at a news article. Ngozi had been released early for good behavior. She was out, somewhere in Lagos. He set the phone down, his hands shaking. The nightmare was supposed to be over, but something told him it was only just beginning again. The truth behind the terror, the story of the billionaire and the maid, became a legend in Lagos. It was a warning about the dangers of pride, secrets, and underestimating those we consider beneath us. Ngozi's power had never been supernatural. It had been psychological, but in many ways that made it more terrifying, because it proved that the human mind, when manipulated correctly, could be more vulnerable than any body, more breakable than any spirit. Chief Emeka had been humiliated not by magic, but by his own fear, guilt, and weakness. Ngozi had simply held up a mirror and forced him to look at himself. And in the end, the scariest monsters aren't the ones with glowing eyes and twisted shadows. They're the ones who know exactly which buttons to push, which fears to exploit, which lies we tell ourselves, and use that knowledge to completely destroy us. The maid with the shocking, dangerous power had fallen, but the scars she left behind would never fade.